Okay, this is video 4 on the VW T5 4Motion day van build. I had to order some more carpets. I'd run out. I realised that when I built my T4 I didn't include the roof lining, hence 2 or 3 metres there. That's why I ran out. It's on order, should land today, but today it's the diesel heater fitting, which I'm putting under the driver's seat there. So that's without the box, and you can see there that heater as it is would be great for a larger van, Sprinter, Crafter, the French stuff as well. You just put that in the garage area. You've got your separate control panel there you can take off, and the remotes, so bring a bit of ducting through there into the cab, perfect. But for a vehicle this size, I've actually bought this for my own T4, but I've decided to do that as a winter project, and I'm using this to make this build speed up a bit in this one. So all the pipe work's there, the heater, main heater's in there, fuel tank, so take it apart and pick out the bits I need. So you can see there it's the same as the standard Chinese diesel heater, nothing different. You've just got a fuel tank on the top, a few extra bits of piping. See if I can tip this over without it falling apart too much, and underneath you've got your standard layout there. You've even got your fuel pipe on actually, so yeah, that's perfect. When I plumb it in, fuel pipe's already connected. Okay, so strip this down and then I'll lay out the bits that I'm going to use. Okay, that's the dissection over. That's what I don't want. Case, centre section, base, fuel tank. This is pretty good. Sometimes I've used that plate there in a van. I might use it again on this one. Just grind it all down so you've got the flat plate. That's the only thing I'll keep off that. And what's left is the heater, which goes obviously that way. This is the base there. So you'll recognise that from what you purchase off eBay as a standard heater. Fuel line, I think I'll replace that. I'm not happy with that. I don't know what grade that is, to be honest. I'll replace that with the UK braided stuff and use a better Jubilee clip on there, so there's no drama with the fuel supply. And actually, en route to this, a filter. That's one thing people miss out. Yeah, filter to that. Obviously that's your inlet air, that's your exhaust, and there's a gasket there, seal, so I think I will cut that out and then place that on the floor of the van through onto that seal. What else? That's the remote. When it's live, that's what you control it from. You've got the remote control there. You can keep away from the van, in the van. They work well. 12 volt supply, pretty decent wire into that. Fused, not too sure what fuse that is, I'll check. Inlet for the wires, and the fuel pump. These need to be fitted at an angle. Not too sure which way it is, to be honest. It's that way or that way. I normally sort of look at YouTube videos for that. I would imagine it's, yeah, from the feed down that way maybe. So you've constantly got fuel sat in the pump. And again, I'll replace this for braided to the fuel supply from the van. So that's what I'm keeping. That's what I'm getting rid. Well, I'll keep it, but yeah, not needed. Needed. And a bit of mist. Let's find out what's in the box there. Okay, all the usual stuff. That's from the heater. You got the controllable vent there, and this stuff flexes, moves quite well. Jubilee clip, that end, this end. You can cut this stuff as well. Basically there it'll come out and I'll point it this way. So if you've got seats here, you've got the air coming this way. If you've got units over there, you've got the air coming this way. Nothing's sort of pointing towards beds, units or seats. The exhaust tubing, again, all flexible, goes onto the exhaust section there, which I normally put to the side of the vehicle, which will probably come out over there, just pointing just below the sill of the van. So it's got a decent outlet, and that's the inlet air So I normally have these facing down. There's no filtering in there, it's just a box basically, so you don't suck crap or water from the base of the van. So I normally put these where, in fact on this it'll be inside the lower ducting, the plastic, so you've plenty of airflow there. That's where the air will come in, so that will keep it dry, no water going in. Again, that's flexible. And the clips and whatever, sometimes these are pretty dire to be honest, but these look pretty decent. In fact, they look good quality on this kit. That's decent quality stuff, so I'll keep that and use that. So all I need is the braiding. I'll pick up some decent quality fuel braiding pipe, diesel, grade, petrol, I think it's all the same. And I think I've got some little inline filters, so that's all I need. So as of now I can crack on. So let's move the seat and sort out where it's going to go. Okay, decided to remove the seat, put the lower section back on. With unlike a T4, you've got a bit more stuff to go wrong, electrical gubbins. That's underneath the seat, and that's a connector that connects to here. It's just a push fit, get that out. But basically everything I've been doing on this van, disconnect the battery, totally disconnect it. So yeah, let's work out where the diesel heater's got to go. Okay, that's the holes cut, roughly where the square will be. I'll use a metal nibbler to join those up, get that out. And where I need the heater, there's a slight drop in the bodywork here. When that's cut from the underside, I'll bring that up. This slight thing there will come out as well. Oh, there is some kind of earth point maybe. It leads to nothing the other side, so that'll be out. And then roughly it'll be over this way slightly. That will be bolted, screwed to the floor, bolted to the floor, and then when the diesel heater goes on, the 4 nuts here, and these 4 there, screw it on, and then I can plumb it in from underneath. So yeah, happy with that. It does sit there, it's away from the electrical connector box there, and the front comes to pretty much the middle of this. So bang on, right, cut the hole. Okay, that's the hole cut, plate just on top there. So a bit of rust cure around that hole there. And that gives, I do it this way because you've got more adjustment. If you make a slight mistake, you can move the heater slightly. Use a plate. As you can see at the bottom of the heater, there's a silicone sort of rubber seal there. That's all you need. You know, I went over the top with a few of them, but there's no exhaust gases going to come back in. So yeah, secure this down, screw that through, and then high temp seal around there, and then under here where the bodywork is slightly lower, and slight pause. Well, it'll be in the same video, but for me it's a pause. The exhaust there, that's not long enough. I've ordered a, I think it's about £10.50, 1.2 metre extension, so I can come back and have the outlet sort of somewhere back here, sort of a foot and a half past the door shut. That's a lot better than having it coming out by the driver's side door. And I've decided to go from the fuel tank, which is obviously on the passenger side. So I'm going to drop the tank and do the usual, put it through the sender, and I've ordered a pickup standpipe for that. I think that was from the UK, £17 on eBay. So I shall be waiting for those, move on to different things, and for now, in fact I won't finish it now, I'll secure the heater in situ and then go from there. That's the plate down, bolted in 3 places, ready for the heater to be made up and dropped into there. Okay, that's the diesel heater in and bolted down. Air intake at the front there, again lights a bit low. The vent will be, basically that's the back of the heater. This goes on, that's in the kit, and I shall put the end on. So everything's all over the place at the moment. That end goes on the end of there, and then you can bend this wherever you like. I shall secure it to the back of the chair and push the heat out towards the side door. It doesn't matter what you put in then, that'll be pretty good, and nothing gets hot, everything's all good. So that's the top, that's fitted, bolted down and underneath. Okay, I've done the best I can with the illumination here. I'm basically lying on the floor underneath the van. So if you can imagine, well, it's pretty obvious, that's the base of the diesel heater. That's a cracking location to come out of. I need something to point with. Okay, let's go for this. So you've got your exhaust coming out there. This is the inlet. I've gone into there, so it's secured here. And a zip tie there, so the air intake is facing slightly downwards. The bottom plate comes to here, so everything is well within, out the way of plastics and air zone, etc. Out the way of everything basically is what I'm saying. The fuel pipe, you might not be able to see it, but that's pushed over this plastic section here and is coming out the other side, just dropping down there. That's ready when the tank is dropped to go into the sender. And I bought the extra long exhaust section. God, this will be easier when I've got my scissor lift in. And when I've got my GoPro thing, I've actually got a GoPro 8 that's got a black screen at the moment. No idea how to fix it. So yeah, this is the heat shield for the exhaust, so I'll screw that maybe there, and that's completely totally secure out the way, and it's got a heat source too. It's not going to get, it is going to get hot there, but it's on the chassis and the heat shield for the exhaust. Going back to probably about halfway down the van, and then the original piece with the kit, which is identical to this, I will come out at, join it there basically, come out at an angle, maybe, let's go for about 1.5 foot in front of the, keep this still, okay, so join there and coming out maybe 1.5 foot in front of the rear wheel. So I may need to chop back a bit of this heat shield here because that comes quite close, but there it's far better than being at the front because everything would get soaking wet. So I'm going to work out how to get my phone back and go from there. Yeah, it's still waiting its steering rack, and while I've got the shielding down, I've given that a clear out, and all along the inner sill here with Gravitex stone chip paint just to tidy it up. It was clean, but the more kind of stuff like that you put down, the better it'll be in the future. So yeah, that's the diesel heater installed till now, and I've actually got here, while I'm lying on the floor, the standpipe into the fuel tank. So I've got the, I think the 2 pipes. I've got a removal tool coming tomorrow, and I can get the, drop the tank slightly, flicker, drop the tank slightly, get the sender out and put this in, connect the pipe there. If it's not long enough, I've got an extension, same thickness, I'll do a proper connection on that. So that is totally safe and secure and should work excellent. It's a good install, I'm well happy with it. I've got to get up now. So onto lowering the tank, a couple of jacks there, bit of wood. I'm taking off the strap bolts, 1, 2, 3, and there's 3 at the back. A guy here yesterday fitting the steering rack to this van, and I had to get him to loosen those off. They look easy enough, just put a pin in, but they were covered in muck, so they were harder than usual. But basically there's a 50mm fuel release pliers basically push those and they disconnect. Made that sound easy. These were quite difficult. So on to drop in the tank. Okay, that's the 6 bolts out. I'll now just gently left and right lower the tank. Make sure nothing else is connected. I've taken the filler neck part away, so it should come down quite easy. And yeah, get to the sender unit. Right, got to the bit I need. So basically there, lower the tank down, keep it balanced. Then I lowered the rear jack, put the wooden board onto 2 normal house bricks basically, and then slowly move the tank from the back end towards me. Yeah, you've just got to watch nothing snags. That's happy in there, that's just twisted. It's not under any pressure at all. The only other thing that I moved was the wiring to the fuel sender goes through. The wiring to the fuel sender goes through. It's a bit awkward this with a phone, but in front of the, you can just see it there, the black conduit sort of plastic going up into the main body. See if I can get across a bit more. Yeah, it's right next to the 2 main feed pipes. You can see it better there now, just away from the brake pipes there. That goes all the way to the back of the tank, and I unclipped it. Am I in the right one? Yep, that clip there. That clip there. And again, this clip just keeps that loose, otherwise that would be quite tight. Apart from that, all easy. Would have been easier with less fuel in it, but I had no choice on that. I bought it as a problem with the steering rack, so would have been nice and easy without the fuel in. So what I'll do now is I'll take that out, put the standpipe in, and I think I'll leave it with its fuel in. It'll be more hassle then. More hassle to get the fuel out. So okay, sender unit out, the standpipe I've bought put in, connect the pipe from the diesel heater, put the tank back in. Okay, that's the sender loose. I'm going to try and do this without removing any connections. The battery's disconnected. I always use a soft, this is what I use for edging basically, just something soft, just use a bit of wood to knock that around. You don't want to crack that, that'd be another headache. Disconnect the black pipe from the return pipe there, and the feed in, is that a breather? I don't know what that is. Anyway, from this, and then the feed and return disconnect from the other clips, and the retaining ring goes back. Maybe easy for that way. That's the way I've done it. Okay, right, let's work out how to get this standpipe in. It obviously comes up that way. There must be some way of feeding it through this section. Okay. Okay, keeping out of the way of the feed pipe, which runs from here. So that's sort of, let's point with this. I don't drop it. So that area there is a no-go. So I'm going to go through roughly, there's a raised bit of plastic there, just sort of in front of there with an 8mm. That's a dead zone. So that will come up out the way of that. Yeah. I think what I'll do then is come down with the pipe through that little cutout there and just drop it in behind, round about ending there. That way that you know you're pretty much towards the bottom of the tank. You're not in the way of any of this going in here, or the seal there. Right, let's go for that. Okay, we're in. Secured from the top. There's a washer at the bottom, and what I've done is I've gone down the side there, just keep it away from everything, and it finishes down here about an inch and a half, maybe just over from the bottom. I've noticed that there's a slight movement in this, but I've measured from the bottom of the tank to the lip here where this sits, and there's only sort of that much difference, so it can't go very far wherever it goes. Anyway, so yeah, all good. That finishes there. When it moves, it's not in the way of anything. So I'm going to put that back in. Happy with that. Refitting the sender. There's an arrow here which needs to go. If it's in between those, job done. And that's pretty much bang in the middle. So I'll disconnect these pipes now and bring back the clip to refit. If you've disconnected these, then easier, but going off the last two that I did under there, I'll try to do it with it in situ. So yeah, all ready to be connected. So let's get the retaining jobby back on. Okay, that's the fuel line connected and running along, and what I'll do is as I put it back, and I've got more room to do it, zip tie it to probably this one here because it's braided, going along the front there and running over the shielding above the prop shaft there. The same again, this is the pipe, I'll secure that to anything up there, stop it moving around. Right, let's get the tank back on. Okay, all back in, correct. Yeah, just a few things to point out. If you can, do it with an empty tank. That was hard work, but it's worked. Second is, as you're lying down at the moment, the 10mm that goes in at the top there, line that up as you're lifting it, make sure it's lined up, and as you're getting close, put the 10mm in. That way you know if you, it shouldn't be out, but if you are out, you haven't got to mess around. The straps are all pretty easy. I put the back ones in first from the other side of the van, and you can see there, that's the fuel pipe sagging there that goes to the diesel heater. I've got to zip tie that back over the cowling there somehow. The two pipes here are reconnected. The sender wires, when you lift that up as well, you've got to make sure that they're in their little recesses. You can see that they need to go in this little recess. As I was lifting it up to start with, I was clamping the wires, realised, and then dropped it down and did it again. You can feel recesses in the tank, so the tank goes back in correctly. So right, I'll leave all that as is for now until the diesel heater's fitted. So give all the underside a good going over on the edges. The inner bits is covered, but all along the edges, suspension components, everything is going to get a good covering with, it's kind of like a Lanogard stuff. It's Gravitex, I think, stone chip. Really good stuff. See, I've put some all along the edge here. So yeah, it's just going to save any future hassle with corrosion and whatever. So yeah. Okay, nearly there. I'm at the point where I can test it, and the rest of the fitting, tidying up, putting the leisure battery in, sorting out all these wires, working out where the heater controller is going to go, connecting this to the back here, connecting that to the side, so you've got your vent there all set up. That'll be in the next video, which will be the split charger relay fitting. Again, that will be the position of that, I don't know, maybe the back of the seat, just so you know exactly where you're at, because it's got a voltage reading on it. But yeah, I'm at the point where I can test it. Pumps in, pipes are on, there's a grommet there where the feed and the back to the heater go through. Again, next video, point that out exactly where it is, because I've got to glue that back down and sort of kind of sealer on it. So I've got a fuse, the controller, the battery, all good underneath. So yeah, it's into the sender. That pipe there is the one that goes across, and either there, which I think is a bad place, or further along I need to put a fuel filter. I think I'll put it close to the diesel heater, make that pretty obvious so it's easy to change. So that's under there all sorted. So that's from the roughly the centre of the driver's door, panel down. Doing the best I can with the light, but I've shown this in a previous. You got your feed up here by your outlet coming across, that's fixed. The exhaust is away from everything. I may put a solder mat there, heat regarding that, but I've never had a problem. And then I'll run this closer to the edge here, exhaust heat shield, and then at the bottom there, about a foot and a half from the rear wheel come out, and the exhaust outlet will be there. And maybe cut a bit of this out as stated in earlier clips. Yeah, it's been a long old install this, to be honest. It's not what I'd call an easy job. There's a lot of faff. I wish I'd had my scissor lift in situ earlier. Might have been a little bit easier, but the diesel tank, maybe not. So I'll get the light back up here and then give this a test, see if we've got any heat. Okay, so the fans come on in the heater. I'll clip in and out of this, otherwise when they're first installed they do take sometimes 5-10 minutes to get going. Okay, that's the pump starting to click, maybe 30 seconds in. What you got there? Super hot air now coming through that. That's on its highest setting. Oh yeah, I'll warm the van up nice and quick. This is a bit noisy at the moment, it hasn't got the extension and the exhaust on. Look at that, running super clean. No smoke. You can hardly smell it actually. Yeah, good install, happy with that. So I'll do all the posh stuff on the next video. I'm going to fit the split charger. Battery's going to go under the passenger seat. All the wires here will be tidied up, new clips. The fuel filter will be in, and yeah, you'll have a nice diesel heater for the van. Oh yeah, that'll be absolutely toasty in the mornings, or if you're back off a walk, drying dogs out, could be anything. Happy days. Even stick your stinky feet up against it with a beer. Well happy. Job done. Thanks for watching, till the next one.